Welcome to San Joaquin Spotlight, a public affairs program featuring conversations about life in the central San Joaquin Valley. This program is brought to you in partnership between KFSR 90.7 FM and CMAC Fresno. I'm your host, Sevag Tateosian. Today we are going to talk about a fabulous program in town that educates kids in school about finances. Today we're here with Michelle Calandra. She's the Regional Executive Director for Junior Achievement. Is it Northern California?
Yes, we're Junior Achievement of Northern California, so I oversee our Central and San Joaquin Valley operations.
How long ago did you assume that position? Because I remember a couple of years ago there was someone else in your role.
Absolutely. So I've been in this position a little over a year now, about 14 months, and it has been an amazing, incredible experience so far. I love it. I love what I do.
Last time you and I were somewhere after work hours, it was at a financial institution, and I'm going to bring it up because you reminded me, and you and I got to talk.
Yes.
But we did a little dance.
We did a little dance. We did a little dance.
Now, talk about what you were doing when we were talking to that group of people. What were we looking for?
I was looking for volunteers. So a lot of the financial institutions around the Central Valley we work with, they are our backbone of our volunteers. And so at that one particular event, we were really looking for our volunteers to do our JA days. So,
and perfect segue,
yes.
Exactly where I wanted you to go. What is JA Day?
So a JA Day, let me just break it down for Junior Achievement first and foremost. We do financial literacy, work readiness, and entrepreneurship programs for kids in K through 12. So our JA Days are specifically targeted to our elementary schools. So, we go around needing many volunteers for our JA Days. We literally take over a school from your K to your 6. So we could need an excess sometimes of 25 volunteers.
You take over an actual school.
Absolutely.
Some of these schools have hundreds and hundreds of students, countless classrooms. So you need actual volunteers for each one.
Absolutely. We are always in need of volunteers. Again, we are a volunteer-driven nonprofit, and without our volunteers, we're not able to provide those programs. And we give them all the training they need. They have kits that are very heavy activity-based, so the kids are always involved, and it's a wonderful experience for that volunteer.
What are they teaching?
Great question. So in our elementary programs, it's all about financial literacy, and it's all sequential. So it's the building blocks of learning what is financial literacy. In our third grade programs, for instance, they actually learn how to write a check and balance a checkbook. I mean, it's those beginning skills.
Are you seeing that that's not being taught anywhere? Because we get the studies all the time that say that parents are not teaching these kids this.
And you see that a lot, and we work with a lot of kids in the lower income, and if you don't see your parents doing that or talk about it, and a lot of times your parents aren't talking to you about their finances or how to balance a checkbook, and so the kids need this opportunity starting at a young age. We start at kindergarten with their wants and needs and help them distinguish what that really means, and then we obviously work on up, and then when we get to our middle school and high school programs, we have a complete plethora of programs from your personal finance all the way to student events.
So some people listening right now to this program or watching us on TV will think, you know what, how could it be that there are kids growing up and not learning about budgeting and stuff like that? But you see firsthand, so tell us what you're seeing.
I see it firsthand. This is just throughout California, there's no financial literacy. But actually with the new AB 166, there will be financial literacy in the classrooms.
Talk about that because, Junior Achievement was on the minds of a lot of people and organizations when this law was making its way through the legislators. So what happened with that law?
Absolutely. So that actually in late, I believe it was September, it was adopted, and that was AB 166, where financial literacy will be mandated in the classroom starting in, I believe, 2015. And JA was actually in the documents recommending the financial literacy in the classrooms.
So how do you decide what financial literacy to present in what classroom? Is it something that JA has done already?
We go to the schools, if it's a middle school or high school, and we talk with the principals, we talk with the teachers who are in your math programs, in your economics classrooms, in your government programs, and what are their needs of their students. If they're not maybe teaching, they might have a small curriculum base for personal finance, but we have a complete semester-long programs from, one is our Finance Park virtual program, Kids get avatars. They have to work through the program online, and they also have a volunteer in person. And it's a lengthy program, but it's a hands-on and teaches the kids, hey, this is what you are. You're a mechanic. This is how much money you make. These are the life skills that you need, and they have to actually make it through this program. It's awesome.
What do they tell you? I mean, what are the kids telling you? Because
they love it.
I actually was in one of your classrooms, by the way, for the record, and I actually sat through one of these presentations, and there was a lot of kids paying attention. I mean,
well, I hope they're paying attention.
Well, when I was younger, for the record, when we had guest speakers doing stuff, we kind of spaced out and zoned out. But
absolutely,
you had a lot of kids that were really interested in this. What are they telling you?
They are actually liking it. It's giving them those hands-on skills which they don't get at home. Even our personal finance classes. The kids are being engaged because you're not just sitting there hearing a lecture. You're sitting there doing activities with someone who's not your teacher. We're getting professionals who are your mentors in those classrooms, and it brings it a lot closer to home when someone from the professional world or a volunteer comes into that classroom and talks and takes interest in those students. And it's all about the hands-on approach. We really value our mentors or our volunteers again, because they are mentors for those kids and giving those hands-on experience when they're learning about financial literacy.
Do you have enough volunteers? Because I'm on your email list, and sometimes I'll get emails saying junior achievement needs you. Come out to this school and teach this class. And we're volunteers that we've been through the program already, so
yes.
You've already seen our work. But do you still need more?
Yes, we are in dire need of volunteers, and we have seen the trend in the last couple of years, kind of taken our great volunteers. They are no longer able to get away to get into the classrooms, which it makes it harder, but we are actually piloting a digital volunteer pilot, so making it easier for that volunteer to maybe get into the classroom without physically having to be there, which is a really cool new concept Junior Achievement is doing.
Talk about a couple of these activities. I know you do budgets and stuff like that, but a couple of the favorite activities that you have.
Well, goodness. Okay, I'm going to talk about a student event then.
Keep talking as long.
Okay.
It's a spotlight on you and Junior Achievement. So by all means, here is your venue, Miss Calandra. Do your thing. We're going to bust a dance in a little bit. Don't get me started.
Like
Go.
So our Social Innovation Camp is one of our premier events, student events. We work with over 10 different schools in 3 different school districts, and we're always looking to expand that. This is a wonderful event that is sponsored by PG&E, which gives 40 students a day-long hands-on course on working with other students, talking about basically social responsibility. How are you going to make a change in the world? We basically bring 40 students from around the Central Valley we were hosted at Fresno Pacific University this year, amazing opportunity. Get these kids in groups of 5, 8 groups of 5. They have to work together to come up with a concept. What are they going to concept? Well, let's talk about it. So Tom's Shoes, it's a social entrepreneur. They're going to take a concept and change the world or whatever it may be. If it's anti-bullying, whatever concept. But they have to work through that. With this group of kids, they don't even know. They have a few hours to work on a concept paper. Then after that, they actually have to put a PowerPoint together to then present to a panel of judges.
Well, okay, so you and I have been at conferences where it's kind of tough to work with a group of adults. Now, you put a group of kids together, and how does that flow?
It flows really well. We start off actually with an icebreaker because, you know, they're teenagers, what are you about, what are you about? We actually make them do this really cool marshmallow tower icebreaker, and it gets them talking and communicating together. But throughout the day, we go through these groups, and these kids have amazing concepts of what they want to do, and it just blows my mind. And it's awesome. And the Social Innovation Camp is so powerful. From this event, again, they do a PowerPoint presentation. We take the top 2 teams and we have them present then at the Fresno Fair. They have to market their concept to the general public.
Oh, that's incredible.
It's an incredible experience for them.
Any success stories?
Oh, of course. I actually had a thank you letter from a student who participated just this year from Duncan, and he was part of one of the winning teams. And he wrote me a letter just saying how thankful he was for coming because he was so nervous about presenting that he wasn't going to come. And then he worked through it and just thanked me for being so positive. I like to ham it up. I like to have a good time.
In case our audience members haven't learned in the brief time that we've talked, you're an energized person.
Yes.
You're very positive. And every time I see you, you've got the dance going. So, I mean, If people don't know you, I suggest them get involved in junior achievement and get involved in what you're doing because there is a lot of energy there.
There really is. And again, it's all for the students. It's all for the students throughout the Central Valley. Again, we're part of Northern California. We want to make a difference. We're reaching about 126,000 students throughout a 23 county district. But here in Fresno, we're only able to reach about 8,000 students, and that's nothing.
And that is a small portion
Yes.
compared to some of the outlying areas and the students we have.
Yeah.
Speaking of the outlying areas, how can we get them involved? Do you need certain languages? Do you need ethnicities? Well, how can we help you?
We're always looking for our volunteers who have Spanish-speaking abilities. We do like to get out into those rural communities as we feel that's a huge need, especially when we're talking about financial literacy. One of our biggest things for us in the coming year is really getting out in those rural communities. We want to be out in Orange Cove. We want to be out in Kerman. We want those communities to have the opportunities that the students here have. So again, if you're a person who's interested, has the time and wants to give back, please give us a call, shoot us an email. I am more than happy to sit down and talk through them what that opportunity is and what your commitment is to that. It's not a huge commitment, and it makes a huge impact in not just your life, but the student's life.
So here we are sitting in front of City Hall on a beautiful day. The sun is shining. And so how can our governments help you? I mean, we have a lot of local governments that are very active in not only Fresno County, in the Valley.
Absolutely, that's a great question. We're always looking to do job shadows. So another big thing that we do are job shadows with not just city entities, but business organizations, so that we can take those students out of the schools and looking again at our middle school and high school kids and showcase what opportunities are out there for a job. We all know that some kids, they're not going to go to that four-year career, so we mix it up. We want to make sure that all these kids are shown what types of jobs there are. So City, I would love to take a group of high schoolers and showcase these are jobs here. It's not just your city council, but it's so much more that makes a city run. And a lot of kids, they usually don't know what options are out there. It's only what they know is what their parents do or their teachers. So again, job shadows is a huge part, and city entities could get really involved in that.
Walk us through what that looks like. So let's say
Yes.
that we have some political figures, or let's say we have a development department chair here watching the program. What does the process look like?
The process is very simple, and it's about a half a day commitment. Students would come to arrive at your site about 9 o'clock, and it would end about at 1 o'clock. You bring in people from different departments, you talk through what you do, you show them, give them hands-on opportunities about this type of job does this type of job does this. And so they have that hands-on, really cool experience. And then they usually have a lunch that's provided by our host site. And then that's the day. They have a pre-lesson beforehand, so they know that there are expectations, and the kids are engaged, and they want to be there. It's not that they have to be there. They've been selected by their teachers to come to these opportunities.
What do you do in terms of fundraising? How can our audience members get involved in fundraising?
Absolutely. So we're always in need of funds, absolutely. For us to expand and grow to reach more than 8,000, we do need more funding. How we do fund ourselves currently is through grants, corporations, and then individual giving.
By the way, for the record, grants are pretty tough to come by because
Very
this
competitive.
area does not have the amount of funding that some of the bigger areas do.
That is so correct, and it's one of the things that helps keep us kind of contained. We're, again, corporations, business partners, a kit campaign, funding the kits that we actually go out to the
okay,
students.
so this may be something that some of our audience members can really get involved in.
Yes,
These kits, what are in
absolutely.
them and what are you looking for?
So in our kits, so every program, every grade level has a kit, and it contains the entire curriculum, the activities, the guidebook for the volunteers, which they are going to teach out of. If there's CDs, there's part of CDs, whatever's in there. And so the volunteers come fully prepped, but those have a high value associated. And again, we fundraise so that the schools do not have to necessarily fund us. Again, we want the students to get these, but they are costly, and we're always looking for opportunities to help have someone help us out. So a kit drive is always a good thing, and they range about $150 to $175.
Which is very reasonable, I
Yes.
mean, considering the value there.
Yeah.
Schools, how can they participate?
Schools, we would love to get more schools on our docket, basically. If you have a school that's interested, we'd love for them to reach out to us. We're always looking to add any type of school. We work with charter schools, we work with mainstream, home schools, you name it. We want everyone to have the opportunity to have these programs. So if you are interested, if they're interested, please reach out to us. Our phone is always open, or my email is always there. Absolutely.
You cover a big area.
I do.
It's not just Fresno County.
It's not just Fresno.
But talk about junior achievement as a whole. I mean, I've read stuff that say you're all over the world, basically.
We are. We're actually a worldwide organization. We have JAUSA is based out of Colorado Springs. That's where all of our programs are tried and tested. So they've been evaluated. We have been around for almost 100 years.
100 years. And do you find that there are some people who've never heard of you? Because
Absolutely.
you've been around for 100 years.
Yes.
That's a long track record.
It's a long track record.
100 years we're talking.
So yeah, so Northern California's been around for about 62 years, so it's very
That's
well
even
known.
a long track record in the valley.
I know. But here in the Central Valley, we've only been around running programs for about 6 years. So a lot of people don't know, adults don't know, but if they're from outside the area, they may know a JA or say, I was a JA kid. A lot of if they have children, they're like, yes, I know what that is. I had an opportunity, I had a meeting with a gentleman, and he wasn't sure what it was. His son schooled him on it and said, oh, I know what junior achievement is. This is what it is. I mean, so it's just marketing more and having an understanding. So when I do have conversations, people are like, oh yeah, I know what that is, and not like, oh, what's that?
The economy is getting better.
Yes.
We're seeing signs of it. We're seeing a housing boom. Many people are still not sure how long it's going to last, but
Right.
the numbers are there. People are getting more jobs. Housing numbers are increasing. People are shopping more. Does that affect you?
I think it affects, well, right now, we're still kind of for volunteer-wise, especially in our financial institution, we've seen kind of a decrease in our volunteers. Affecting us in a good way. We actually have had some people who've moved to the area. One gentleman in particular is bringing on a whole school.
Wow.
He took it upon himself.
So I want to take you to this email or conversation with this gentleman who decided to take on a whole school.
Yes.
When you got the message, did you dance, and what was your response?
Oh, I danced
And
right in my
how was
office.
that? Could you give our audience members a little example? And so for the record, you and I have known each other for a long time, and somehow we get this energy when we're around each other. So our audience members might not know that, but for our radio listeners, Michelle was actually doing a little dance. So I wish they could see you. Anyway, continue with the question.
Yeah, so we get this email from this gentleman who's come. He works for a financial institution, has one child, wants to get involved. He was a JA kid. He wants everyone to know about it. He's gotten us involved. He's talked to the school. He's talked to the parents. We're actually doing a presentation to their parent group tomorrow, actually. It's a huge
Good luck
opportunity.
on that,
Thank
by
you. Holler. It's a great opportunity. And again, if we can get parents involved, that's a huge success for us, because getting volunteers or community partners or volunteers, again, it's hard sometimes to pull someone out of a job for 5 hours to go work at our JA day. Because again, it is from about 8 in the morning to noon. So it is a big chunk of your day, but it's totally worth it.
And some people will ask you, what if they're not familiar with numbers?
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure you get this question all the time when you go ask someone to volunteer, and they may say, you know what, I'm not the best person, I don't speak well, I'm shy, you know, all of the things that come up. So what would you tell them?
Oh, absolutely. So a couple recommendations I would give that person. If they're a little shy, maybe they want to team teach with a friend. They can bring 2 people in. And again, when you're teaching, the kids don't know what you're teaching. So it's not like they're going to be like, hey, you missed that.
The spot. That's not what it is.
Rewind, go back. They're going to find that kids, especially in our elementary programs, they're like, I love you. It's great. And again, it's so heavily in activities that the time just flies. And it's not scary. It might seem a little scary, but we put you through a training beforehand so you're well versed in what to do. And we break down your kits for you or with you and go through what your needs are and any questions you may have. And the teacher is always still present in the class. So you're not on your own.
Yeah, you're not just alone with a group of kids
just
trying to teach
staring at you.
Do you go back to any of these classes? I mean, are there other curriculi that you go and continue to do week in and week out, or is it just like a one-shot thing?
It's usually a one-shot thing, especially with our elementary programs. Say a class will get our elementary program, well then they'll come back next year. So it's that same curriculum, again, it's sequential. Looking at our middle school and high school, we actually have a lot of different curriculum. So they can have a personal finance class, they could have a Titan class, they could have our Futures Careers for Success class, our Economics for Success. There's a lot of different curriculum out there, and a lot of teachers don't even know that's out there. Check us out, teachers.
Yes, that's actually true. There's a lot of stuff that you all do that people don't know about. I mean, so here's your opportunity. If I'm a teacher or I'm listening to the program now and I want to learn more about your curriculum, where do I go?
You can go to janorcal.org or you can go to ja.org. It will give you a listing of every program we have with a brief, giving you a little synopsis of what that entails, what are they hitting. We do follow with core. We're core aligned, so if you have or need core alignments, I can send those to you. Definitely check us out. If you have questions, just call me. Pick up the phone, shoot me an email. I can get you the information ASAP. But again, you can go right online to ja.org or janorcal.org and get all that information.
Talk about some of your favorite stories. So one story that you'll always keep telling is what?
So there was a job shadow probably about a year ago. We had a student who wasn't looking to go to a four-year institution. We know, again, we all know that there's kids that are going to go to four-year college and there's some that aren't. We want the opportunity to showcase everything out there. This one student went through this program and was basically, I didn't know this opportunity was even out there. She basically thought she was going to have to work at a fast food restaurant or something. And nothing's wrong with that, but thought that was her only option. She had never been exposed to just being like an assistant in a print shop, something like that. And it sparked in her, so you see her light up. It's that. It's all about the students. It's all about helping our economy here. If we're investing in our students and giving back and giving them those building blocks to success, our economy here in the Central Valley is going to rise because our skill level is going to rise. It's all about our students.
Talk about the skill level a little bit. Are you finding that compared to some of the other areas, we're behind in a little?
We are. There's a skills gap, and especially when you're talking career technical education. I have companies who I'd like to do job shadows with, and they're like welding, for instance. I had a gentleman say, hey, I own a welding company, but I have no one to fit that need.
Isn't that fascinating?
Blows my mind.
Where we have a group of people that need jobs, and then we have a group of people that want to hire people,
yes.
And there's that gap.
Yes. There's actually a great opportunity. State Center Consortium is putting on this huge event February 4th. It's the Central Valley Career Technical Education Forum, bringing our business partners and educational partners together. But to talk about what are the needs of the business community, because there is that gap, and Junior Achievement can help fill that gap.
I want to ask you about that part because, you know, I've seen you at meetings. I've seen you participate in a lot of stuff that's going on in the community. I've seen you involved in government relations. I mean, you're kind of everywhere. You're in the studio now with me talking about this. But Junior Achievement, a lot of people will say that's not your role, but in actuality, it kind of ties in. How?
It really does kind of tie in. We are kind of like a liaison between bringing our businesses together with education. I am your conduit. I mean, we have students we want to get into different organizations, whether it's to do internships at some point down the road, just to give them those opportunities. But yeah, we really, Junior Achievement, people don't see that, oh, you just do financial. No, it's not just financial literacy. It's work
because
readiness.
It's all tied in.
All tied in. It's all tied in. So
everyone on the program gets a magic wand, and with that magic wand, they get one wish. And I'm talking slow so you can think about what that one wish will be. What do you wish for?
In all honesty, I would wish for additional funding so I can reach more students with a volunteer base in place to basically get all those students. That's a big wish, but it's something that's very doable, and this community is so supportive of each other, of the things that we do, that I know that it's a goal that we can reach. Absolutely 100%.
Financial experts. Do you need them, like CPAs?
Absolutely.
Financial planners?
Absolutely.
How can they help you?
They can sign up for a JA day. They can come and volunteer with us. If they don't have the time to volunteer, we have an annual bowl-a-thon once a year. Yeah, that's right. You're going to bowl. You're going to bowl.
Yes, I know. I'm going to bowl.
So that's another opportunity. So if they can't get out of the office during the week, we do have our annual bowl-a-thon.
So what happens during the bowl-a-thon? You raise funds?
We raise funds, absolutely, to run our programs.
So if I participate and
Yes.
I get a strike, does that make
I'll
more
do a
money
dance.
for you? You've done, you know, the thing that I think people don't understand about you and some of the volunteers you work with, there is a lot of energy around this program. I mean,
yeah.
you know, people who normally are quiet light up when they're involved with junior achievement. Why do you think that is?
Your passion comes out. I mean, and especially I'm so passionate about what I do, and I love what I do. And yes, I dance around, and I'll have a lot of fun with it.
And for the record, for our audience members listening on KFSR, Michelle has done another dance for us. But you're having fun at what you do. And
I do.
But why are you so vested? I mean, you know, here we are. I see you at nights at meetings. I see you in the morning early at community meetings. Why are you so vested in this?
It's my community. I want to make sure that the next generation that's coming up has all the skills needed. I want to get back to my community. That's really what I'm all about. This brings everything that I love into one thing.
We are running out of time, but I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell people your email address, your website, your phone number.
All right, get ready to write this down, everybody. Call us at 559-224-1011. Let us know any questions you may have, and shoot me an email. My email, everyone, write this down. Calandra, that's MCALANDRA @janorcal.org.
So we got to do a dance now, an end dance. That's all for this edition of San Joaquin Spotlight. Our guest this week has been Michelle Calandra, talking about junior achievement and financial education for our youth in schools. Thank you to the volunteer crew that made this and every production possible on KFSR and on CMAC. To our audience members watching this broadcast or listening to us on the radio, thank you for tuning in this week and every week. That's all for this edition. Tune in next week for a new edition.